Today, I bought a bunch of goodies that I want to try on. So I bought a large box here, full face of Glossier. I haven't tried anything from Glossier before. I know the brand started in 2014 by Emily Weiss, and I know that it's very popular for like more skincare based kind of approach, more natural beauty, if you will, but I haven't tried anything from the line. I know that they are coming to the Sephora in the US and Canada sometime in early of 2023. So I think that with a lot of like clean beauty options that are now both, you know, in stores, in the drugstore, in Ulta, and in Sephora, there are a lot of companies that are competing against the availability of, you know, those particular brick and mortars. So I believe that Glossier is approaching this as a business strategy because they were potentially struggling for at least the last 2 years. So anyway, I wanted to dive in and try it before it hits Sephora. We're just gonna play around with it, so I'll zoom in and we'll get started. Okay, so you're zoomed in. Hopefully the lighting is okay. I'm still playing on whether or not natural lighting or artificial lighting kind of works best for this camera. It's not the most expensive camera out there, so anyway. Okay, so I'm definitely excited to try these products. I know they have the famous boy brow. They have the cloud paints that I've heard of before, the brow flick. So we'll get into all of those. I don't have anything on my face right now. I didn't put any kind of skincare moisturizer on because I did buy this priming moisturizer. This is a buildable hydrating cream. So this is the only thing that didn't come in a box. I'm gonna pull up the prices and just tell you what they are kind of as we go through them. Plus I'll link everything down in the description box below. Okay, so the priming moisturizer retails for $24. I really hope that it's particularly heavy because I need a little extra moisturizer today because I am extra dry. So here's the cream. It definitely looks like a very thick cream, so hopefully that is helpful. It does have a slight scent to it, but it's not unrealistic or like unnatural. It smells like just a regular kind of moisturizer. So I'm just gonna use this as like a primer and a moisturizer. It's kind of why I didn't put any additional like moisturizer on before, because I thought, well, okay, this is gonna be more like a moisturizer that you can use for priming. I mean, it feels like a moisturizer. It does not feel like a primer. I mean, in the sense that primers maybe feel more silicone-y, this feels more like a lotion. It's 1.7 fluid ounces. It's quite a big tube, so it probably take you a while to get through it. All right, so we'll just kind of let that sink in. Oh, it feels really good. It feels very hydrating. So I picked up the Perfecting Skin Tint. This retails for $26. I know this is more like a sheer foundation, not to provide like a lot of coverage, but just kind of a little bit. It's, you know, not even a foundation, it's just a skin tint. And I have seen some people wear this and it's just kind of like a whisper of coverage, not very much at all. So I do have the concealer here, and I have heard about this concealer before. This is the stretch concealer. So I thought maybe I would kind of like spot conceal like first and then put the skin tint on over it. So I think that's what we'll do. And this concealer retails for $20. Here is the packaging. It is a glass container. I got mine in the shade G11. This does come in 12 shades. I mean, it's semi-creamy, but it's not overly creamy for sure. And I thought I would just apply this to like one side and see what it does kind of under my under eyes and like around my redness here. And then I would just kind of blend it in with my fingers. I think a lot of these products I'll probably just kind of use in a more natural way and just kind of blend in with the warmth of my finger. It's not thick at all. It almost feels oil-based. Like you can see the sheen to it. So it's pretty light for sure. I mean, you obviously would imagine that with this, but it's lightweight. It's just, yeah. So I just did that to the half of my face, and honestly, even though it's a very lightweight concealer, it's did a really good job. It definitely has a sheen to it. Like I was saying, I definitely think it's like oil-based or, you know, like a water-based formula. So I really like this. I like the way that it looks. I like the way that it feels. I'm just gonna go ahead and apply it to the other side of my face as well. I'm just trying to cover up, you know, where I would normally do it, which is like under my eye and along my redness. And any blemishes on my chin, which right now is like everywhere on my face. Okay, so I just read the description, and boy, do I think it like hits it like nail on the head. So it says that it's a undetectable, flexible coverage. It says that it's a buildable concealer that covers everything from dark circles to blemishes and redness with a dewy, glowy finish. So that is definitely what I was noticing. Why it's special. Adaptable mineral pigments give a brightening effect and blend seamlessly into the skin for natural looking coverage. It has elastic micro waxes, move with your skin instead of caking on top of it. Comes in 12 shades. So that's what it is. The elastic micro waxes. So I definitely said that it felt more oil based, and I can see why they would call it like a stretch concealer. I mean, you can continue to build it up, but because it is a very waxy formula, I mean, it's kind of sticky. I mean, you'll definitely see me set it down with their Wowder a little bit later on, but it's nice. It provided a good amount of coverage, more so than I thought it would for being a Glossier product, but I guess I was wrong. All right, so for the skin tint, it says, and I just pulled this up, it is the land between bare skin and makeup. Wow, I'm reading this and I don't understand this sentence. In the land between bare skin and makeup exists the imperceptible wash of color that is perfecting skin tint. So I don't know if they accidentally added the word makeup twice, but it says it's a breathable, ultra thin formula and it evens out skin's appearance for a smooth, dewy finish. The diamond powder gives a brightening, soft focus effect and minimizes the appearance of pores while glycerin moisturizes skin. Comes in 12 super sheer shades. Okay, so I'm just gonna put it, I'm guessing this is a very like liquidy formula, but I'm just gonna put some on the back of my hand, and I'm probably gonna do like the normal amount that I would apply typically when putting on my foundation. So this is just dripping down my hand, which totally makes sense. I figured it would be very lightweight. So I'm just gonna do half of my face this time. I'm gonna do the right side here, and I'm gonna put it on everywhere that I normally would. It's definitely like super, super watery. Like it almost looks like it left water on my hand. So I would imagine the first ingredient in this is probably water. So everything is on. I'm just gonna blend it in with a sponge. I'm just gonna bounce it in. I figured this would be better than like moving the concealer around, since the concealer was, I don't know, pretty waxy formula and seemed to just not set into my face. I didn't want to move it around when I put the foundation on. Wow, this is lovely. Okay, so that's it applied to one side of my face. I definitely think it evened out my skin tone because I was having a lot of redness. I just am like this month, it's insane. It's very natural, like it says, it's very sheer coverage, but honestly, it's that perfect like glowy summer look. It's perfect for right now. If it wasn't so nasty and gloomy outside, this would be like great on a sunny day, just going to hang out. Like I really like this, I really do. I think this could, because I'm kind of more into like sheer makeup these days, sheer kind of buildable, more natural these days, this could become one of my favorites, honestly, because I don't have anything else that's quite this sheer. I mean, I could kind of just put concealer all over and kind of call it a day, but I do like to wear foundation like when I'm getting ready, at least something. So this is very nice for just kind of throwing on makeup, no makeup. I mean, I know that that's their strategy. It's funny that during this time when more sheer makeup and clean beauty, like more minimal coverage, I'm just kind of putting this in like areas that I'm still a little red, isn't more popular right now than it was when it launched in 2014 and when I started to see a lot of people use Glossier products, which was around 2016, when full coverage was really popular. And so, you know, I know that There definitely have been some things with Glossier recently with kind of like relaunching, or not rebranding, but definitely changing their strategy to move into Sephora. I mean, I feel like if they don't, because so many other brands are, that they're going to get pushed out of the market completely and then ending up shutting down. And I could be totally wrong, but I would imagine even if they said that they were valued at a certain amount, I mean, that's asset, sure, but you have no idea what their like liability is company wise, how much it would take in operating expenses to keep going if they didn't come up with a different strategy to meet real market demands. I mean, consumers want things like on Sephora because you can place an order, or Ulta, because you can place an order and you can do it for multiple things and get it all at once, as opposed to going to their websites. I mean, that's at least how I feel. I mean, I don't mind ordering from like the manufacturers or the company's website, but sometimes the convenience of Sephora and having a brick and mortar is great. And I think they have a Glossier here in Florida, but it's like all the way in Miami. It's on, it's very, very dewy, very dewy. Like not just sheer, but it has a radiant finish. So it is nice. It's just really, really that whisper of coverage. So I'm gonna actually, do I want to apply the blush and bronzer first, or do I want to powder? So because I don't know how the blush and bronzer are going to perform, I don't know if they're going to be sticky, a more sticky formula or not, I'm going to just apply them first and then we'll set down the face and then we'll move on to eyebrows. So the next is the Cloud Paint. This is called Seamless Cheek Color in the shade Dusk. So this comes in 8 shades. I did pick up like a lighter shade instead of a more vibrant color because I wasn't sure how pigmented they were going to be. It says it's a seamless buildable gel cream blush that's enjoyable to apply and easy to wear. It's just sheer enough upon initial application to make it easy to work with and layer without going overboard. Simply dab it onto the cheeks and tap into the skin for a natural flushed from within glow. It has special blurring pigments, give a soft focus effect that doesn't accentuate texture or pores, as if you just happen to be in golden hour lighting at all times. The lightweight gel cream formula has a pillowy, bouncy feel that blends seamlessly and leaves cheeks dewy, not streaky or chalky. So this retails for $20 if I didn't say that already. All right, so I think I'm probably just gonna apply this like with my fingers. I'm gonna put it on the back of my hand just to kind of see what the color looks like outside of the tube, and see how pigmented I think it is. Ooh, it's very pigmented, or it appears very pigmented. All right, so I'm just gonna start with like a little dab here, and I'm gonna do what it says and just kind of put it like on the apples of my cheek and then take my fingers and then kind of like blend it back. I should have done bronzer first, but I didn't. It's okay. Wow, that's way more pigmented than I thought it was gonna be. Yeah, okay, all right, that's good stuff. Well, good thing I like a lot of blush then, huh? Ooh, it does. Oh, that's nice. That's a nice color. It's definitely more orange than I thought it would be peach. It's a more vibrant color for sure. I thought this would be lighter, maybe like between kind of peach and mauve, but it's definitely more pigmented, so it comes off more warm, more orange. Okay, that's very nice. So I did move a lot of the product kind of to the back of my face, not intentionally, but it is a very tacky formula, as you can kind of imagine. So I have a little bit still on the back of my hand. I'm just gonna do the same thing on this side. Just kind of apply it to the balls of my cheek and then just like tap it backwards. A little bit goes a really long way with this product. I wasn't sure how like buildable or how sheer it was gonna be. So yeah, a little bit does definitely go a long way. I am kind of afraid that I'm taking some of it off by tapping it in with my finger. Like right here, it kind of feels like a little bit is coming up the more I try and blend it in. So that's kind of interesting. And maybe it's just me, but I'm like putting a lot of this on. I don't really care. I like a lot of blush. I mentioned this in one of my other videos that honestly, if I was gonna go out, the 3 things that I would wear for sure would be concealer, blush, and mascara, and I wouldn't get ready and be visible to people without those three things. So it definitely remains tacky. I almost feel like as I was blending it in, it was picking a little bit up like on my fingers and kind of like moving it, so it was like taking it away from the spot that I was like dabbing in. So I didn't love that. It is definitely very sticky. I mean, tacky, sticky. It has the same kind of consistency that the concealer and the skin tint had. Not shocked about that, but everything so far is like really hydrating on the skin, and I really love that. Okay, so I made a mistake and I probably should have put on their bronzer first. Their bronzer is called Solar Paint. It's a luminous bronzer cream. So it's very interesting application. I don't have anything else like this particular product. So this Solar Paint comes in 4 shades. They probably could have done a lot better to be more inclusive with the shade range, but it just depends on how sheer the coverage actually is, because if this particular shade, which is the lightest shade, I have mine in the shade Flare, it could be expandable to a lot of skin tones. It really just depends on like how flexible this is. So it says it's a weightless bronzer designed to capture the warm glow you get from spending a day in the sunshine. Why it's special. We wanted the skin to look like it was actually kissed by the sun. Each shade has a touch of luminosity from light reflecting pearls and a thoughtful balance of warmth and dimension, so your bronzer looks just as natural at broad daylight as it does in your bathroom mirror. The almost whipped gel cream is infused with desert milk, a micro emulsion of plant oils and extract like jojoba and aloe to condition and nourish, and has a natural effect finish that blends seamlessly with the heat of your fingers. We added a doe foot to ensure your bronzer ends up in all the places the sun would naturally hit. A little goes a long way with this formula, so you'll want to start with a few dots, blend it out, and you can always build up from there. Okay, so pretty much what I thought. It's probably pretty flexible. I'm gonna do what they said here. This is the packaging, and if I didn't mention, it also retails for $20. So I don't have a bronzer that has a doe foot applicator. This kind of would be the first, I think. I don't know, who knows anymore. But I'm gonna just like do 3 dots like it says and like blend it out with my fingers, and then see kind of like how it meshes with the blush, since I screwed up and did the blush first. So it's pretty sheer. I'm definitely gonna go in and continue building this. It's actually, because this is such an emollient, like creamy gel formula, it's quite a long process to sit here and kind of blend this in with your fingers to give it that diffused look that I'm kind of trying to go for. But it actually looks pretty nice, and it meshes well with this blush, and I didn't do myself too much of a disservice by adding it later. So I'm going to do the same thing to this side. I'm going to start with 3 dots, and then I'm going to build up from there. I did end up using like 6 total dots here, just applying it the first time, blending it in, applying it again just one more time with the 3 dots, and then blending it in. And that seemed to be like the level of coverage that I'm really looking for. I don't think that I got the right eyeshadows for the blush look, but oh well, who cares, it's just makeup. Okay, so I'm done. I think that looks really nice. As much as I love using my fingers and sitting here and playing for forever, I'm actually going to blend in the bronzer on the forehead with a sponge and see if that goes a little bit faster, because doing it with my fingers was taking a little bit of time. So far, I don't dislike anything. I really do like these products. Okay, so I think that looks good for a more natural finish. If I keep building, it's probably gonna look like more than the natural look I'm trying to go for. I mean, just the premise of all of them, this more natural kind of dewy finish, is working for me. Okay, so I'm gonna do the highlighter, because it is a stick highlighter. It is a cream formula, and then we'll set with powder. So this is the Haloscope. This is the Dew Effect highlighter. It says it's a crystal infused highlighter with skin conditioning benefits. The stick's outer core, the halo, is formulated with genuine crystal extracts for an all-day glow that's not glittery. I like that. The solid oil-based inner core is made from vitamin-rich moisturizers for a hydrated, dewy finish. and it comes in 3 blendable shades that work for everyone. So this one says it's cruelty free, but it does not claim to be vegan. I do have this in the shade Quartz. It says it's for a universally flattering pearlescent highlighter. So let's open this up. I'm not as excited about this one because I don't love stick highlighters. Let me just see. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. So when they said it has an oil-based inner core, they literally meant there's like an oil applicator on the very inside. So that's very interesting. I'm just gonna apply this to the back of my hand to see how it feels. Okay. So it's definitely like a stickier oil-based middle core. It's not too bad. It's not over emollient or greasy. So it's nice. It's definitely, you know, more tacky. I'm gonna try and kind of blend it in. Yeah. So once you blend it in, it just gives you that like glow without having any, it doesn't really have a color to it. I mean, I would definitely say it's more pink, but than it is like a silver or anything like that, but it doesn't have a real base to it. So that's interesting. So I am probably just gonna kind of swipe this on. So I'm gonna just apply it here. I don't even know how much I'll have to blend this in because it's so sheer. All it does is really just kind of cast that like inner glow on your cheekbones. I hope you can see that. I'll apply it here and like blend it out. This kind of reminds me of like the Flower Beauty one, the one that's in the pot. Yeah. So I didn't notice it pick up any of the blush when I swiped it on, and it really just highlights your cheekbones, like gives it an extra like glow to it without it actually being too much of a color. Because it's oil-based, it's definitely sticky. I am definitely getting nervous about powdering over it, so maybe I'll just kind of avoid this area, but it is really nice. You can see it in the light, but I do want to kind of just set down some of these products and definitely the areas that I would normally set, like under my eyes and the center of my face. So this is the Wowder. I have mine in the shade G11 to G12. It comes in 5 different shades. It says it's the perfect matte, not flat finish. It's weightless finishing powder. It says it cuts shine, blurs the appearance of pores, and sets makeup. It says it controls your level of dewiness with this instant blotting powder. Won't leave a chalky film, cake into fine lines, flatten skin's texture, or show up in flash photos. Apply all over or just the areas you want to shine less. This one does say it is vegan and cruelty free, and this retails for $22. So everything so far has been roughly around the same price. So here's the packaging, just a plastic container, and it does have a thing on the inside, so I'll just pull this out. It is just one of those mesh liners on the inside, so I just pressed it a little bit and a little bit came out. So I'm just going to use a small e.l.f. tapered brush so that I can apply this in a more strategic way. Well, I'm just going to kind of powder one side so we can see what it looks like. It says it's not chalky, but it is matte. I'm definitely more dry today than normal, and I'm not going to say that this is looking too dry on my face, but I definitely feel like it's a heavier powder. I wouldn't say that it is in line with some of these other products that feel more like a lightweight formula. I think this powder has a little bit more coverage. It does come in shades. It's not like a translucent powder. So I'm just going to do the other side of my face. Okay, so I think that's nice. Like I said, I don't think it's a super lightweight formula. I definitely think it provides a little bit more coverage than I was kind of expecting for this powder. So let's move on to brows. Okay, so I got the Brow Flick, and I also have the Boy Brow. The Brow Flick, which is the micro defining pen, and I got this in the shade Blonde. Oh, this is a shake pen. So the Brow Flick is a detailing pen that adds dimension anywhere your brows feel sparse, need definition, or when you simply want more brow. Choose black, brown, or blonde. And this retails for $18. So I'm not a huge fan of pens, but this is pretty infamous product, so I had to give it a shot. All right, so with this, I think I'm just gonna start applying it to like the inner corner and then fan it out and see how that works for me. Okay, hopefully I've shaken it enough. It's not very pigmented. Like, I did it right here. And even though this is blonde, it seems like it's very, very light. Like, it took me 3 or 4 swipes to get that much to come off. So I don't anticipate this being an extremely pigmented, kind of hard to work with product. It kind of seems more like you're gonna get that natural feathery look, but you're not gonna get a whole lot of maybe definition out of this. I definitely feel like I need to keep shaking it. So I actually like a pretty pronounced brow, so I'm interested to see like how does this work for what I normally do. So here are the brows. This is the one I did, not did. I actually think that this is very nice, natural looking brow. So this is described as smudge resistant, buildable, sheer, vegan, long wearing. So I honestly think this was the perfect match to my eyebrows, and I think it did a really good job. It's maybe not as sculpted an eyebrow than I typically do, but I really do like it for this type of aesthetic. I'm just gonna go ahead and do the other one and then come back. So that one was a little bit harder to apply. It almost felt like the pen was running out, and even though I kept shaking it, it was really difficult to get off, and it kept like clumping at the end of the tip here. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and use the boy brow. I've pulled it up here. This does come in 5 different shades. It says a brushable creamy wax that visibly thickens, shapes, and grooms brows into place. It's inspired by traditional hair pomade. It gives brows soft, flexible hold in one easy swipe and doesn't stiffen or flake. This is $17. Like I said, it comes in 5 shades, and I picked Auburn. I think Auburn will be okay if it's not too pigmented and I don't layer it on too thick. So I am just gonna go for it here, and I'm gonna do the same thing and just start with the right hand side, and we will see how this goes. I never use pomades. I never use anything that sets my brows down. I just let them run free. But I think this is a really good color. It's definitely very wet formula. Like I can just feel it on my brow. It's not like drying down instantly or anything. Okay, so that is it applied to both sides. I definitely do like that I picked the Auburn shade. It's definitely a wet formula, like I can feel it. And there is a little bit of transfer, so I don't know how long it'll take to dry down. It's not a huge amount of purpose for me to use a product like this, even though the boy brow is extremely popular, because I don't like that wispy kind of fan effect. But, you know, we'll see. We'll see if everything kind of stays in place where I have it right now. Okay, so next I actually think that I'll put on a gloss while we do the eyes. It is a lip gloss as opposed to like a hydrating lip oil, but I thought we could test it out because I was going to go ahead and put on the Ultralip, the hydrating shine and color. So it has, you know, color to it, where the gloss does as well. It does have a little bit of pigment because I did swatch this, so it is in a red shade, and I thought that would be fun. But just to test it out so we can try both of them on. So this retails for $15. It says high shine without the stickiness. It comes in 4 shades. I got mine in the shade Red Rouge. It says it's a comfortable long-wearing lip gloss with a glassy finish. So I'm gonna swatch it just to see, you know, how pigmented it is. Ooh, that feels sticky. So it does have a little bit of tint to it. It definitely feels like a stickier formula. I know that it says that it's not, but it's thick. Like, it is thick. Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit sticky. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I mean, it's a stickier formula for sure. Like my hair is getting stuck in that in a strong wind, in a light wind. It's definitely sticky. It has a bit of a tint to the lips, but not too much. I wouldn't say this is not comfortable, but it's stickier than a lot of glosses that I have. And to claim to be like not sticky, but really glossy finish, I would say this is sticky for sure. So we'll leave that on, and then we will move on to eyeshadow. So I did pick up 2 eyeshadows. These are called the Monochromes. These are just 2 trios. So I got 2 of them because they are monochromes. They all are like the same color in different finishes. So I thought we could mix 2 of them together. These do retail for $22. They are refillable monochromatic eyeshadow trios with 3 essential finishes. So it looks like it's a matte, a satin, and a metallic. So I have one in the shade Bluff, which I thought matched the blush pretty well. But this is a very light, very light palette. So I love these shimmers and the way they look. I haven't swatched any of these, so I will swatch them. That's Bluff, and this one is Heather. So I actually think those two would be pretty good to pair together. I will just swatch these right now. Ooh, the shimmer is very nice though. Very, very nice. These all feel great. So this is the matte, that's the satin, and that's the shimmer finish in this palette. So here is the one in Bluff. That's the matte, which I had to build up because it's a very, very light sheer shade. The satin and the shimmer. The satin and the shimmer are very similar, but they are very nice. I would say this is more of like a companion palette as opposed to you can get a whole eye look out of this because it's so light. I don't know, you know, I don't know how much you could kind of do with this. It would just kind of like look like a wash of a shimmer on my skin tone and lighter skin tones. Okay, so I think that I will start with this matte shade right here. Yeah, this has like no pigment on my skin tone whatsoever. I think I'm just gonna take this matte shade in this palette and just kind of, I'm just gonna do a light eye look. I don't think there's a need to make this a super dark eye look, not with this kind of like natural makeup. And I'll just like kind of smoke out the outer edge, not too much, and then I'll just do a light shimmer on the eyelid. Just a little bit of depth on the outer corner here. Okay, I think that's good. So it's not a heavy eye look by any means, but we're going for a more natural finish anyway. This eye look doesn't exactly match like the blush that I picked out, but I don't care. Do whatever you want. It's your face. So now I'm going to go into this light shimmer shade right here and just put this all over the lid. I do notice that the matte shades, they're not very pigmented. They're definitely like blendable and they're buildable, which I do like, but they're not too pigmented right off the bat. This one in the pan definitely looks like it would have more, the one I did on the outer corner definitely looks like it would have more pigment than it had. It was very light. I mean, I do like these shimmers. These shimmers are actually very nice. They do come off quite nicely. I'm gonna go back in with that outer corner shade. See how it looks like it definitely be more pigmented in the pan than it comes off on the eye. So you really do have to like build this up. I actually think that looks really nice and natural. So these are actually really nice. All right, moving on to mascara, I have the Lash Slick. This says it's the Film Form Mascara. So this retails for $18. It only comes in black. It says it's our best-selling mascara that visibly lengthens and lifts lashes without smudges or flakes for a baby extension effect. So it's this very sleek packaging. It's a weightless, flexible formula that enhances the look of your natural lashes. The secret in teeny tiny fibers that coat each individual hair from root to tip, creating maximum definition and length. Think less. Your mascara looks good, and more, your lashes look good. It's water resistant, but not waterproof. That means it stays in place without smudging or flaking for up to 12 hours, but then removes easily with warm water and without harsh damaging rubbing when you're ready to take it off. As your everyday mascara, nourishing ingredients like vitamin B help support sleek, shiny, cared for lashes long term. Okay, so I imagine this is gonna be very, very your lashes but better. So here's the wand. It is a plastic wand. I don't see any real fibers on it. If I do, they're on the very end of the brush and they're not very long. So I'm just gonna go ahead and apply this to one eye. I'm gonna do my right eye first and then see how it looks. So right away, it's definitely a drier formula. It's not a very wet formula, but it seems like a pretty buildable formula. So this is with it on and then not. Okay, so that is it applied to both eyes. I would say that it gives a good amount of length and not volume. It's a pretty nice mascara. So we'll have to see how it wears throughout the day and whether it transfers or not, or flakes. We'll just have to see as it wears. All right, so the final product that I have is the Ultralip. This is the Hydrating Shine and Color. So this comes in 9 shades and retails for $18. It says it's a rich moisture of a balm, the sheen of a gloss, and the buildable color of a lip tint. Without the hassle of layering multiple products, it's one tube, one step, one Glossier Ultra Lips. So I'm just gonna take off the lip gloss. Oh, it's very sticky. This is actually very difficult to remove. This lip gloss actually kind of stays in place pretty well. I got mine in the shade Villa. It's a mauve tone. I kind of like mauve tones. It won't necessarily match this eye look, but like I said, we're going for it. We don't care. I'm just gonna apply it. I'm not gonna use any kind of lip liner or anything. I didn't get any kind of lip liner. So it's definitely smooth. It feels good. So that's actually really nice. It does have a little bit of pigment to it, but it's not too pigmented. It does kind of provide like a good amount of tint. It is not sticky at all. It feels really good and hydrating. Okay, so that was it. That is a full face of Glossier. Let's just go through some of these products and I'll give you like a wrap up of my final thoughts on every one of them. So starting with the priming moisturizer, I think this was nice. I mean, I used it with a really thin skin tint, so I'm not sure how it's going to perform sitting under other makeup, but it definitely felt hydrating. It was very nice. I like that kind of more lotiony texture than more silicone-y feel, so I think this was a good one. Then the stretch concealer, this one definitely surprised me. Even though it had, you know, like an oil-based or waxy-based formula, I thought it provided a good amount of coverage and it was very comfortable on. It did not feel too thick or too heavy. So I really liked this one. This one surprised me. The Perfecting Skin Tint, I also really liked this. I thought it had more coverage than I was kind of expecting. I think I expected it to be a little bit more watery than it turned out to be. And it appeared to be a pretty buildable formula, so I thought this was nice as well. Next, the Solar Paint. I actually thought this was really nice. I thought the shade was pretty neutral and it was pretty easy to blend. I definitely wouldn't spend time blending this with my fingers. I would probably do this with like a damp sponge in the future. We'll see how it wears. The Cloud Paint, I can definitely see why this is a popular product for Glossier. It's definitely pigmented. You only need a little bit. You can easily blend it out with your fingers. I would say though that I thought it was kind of picking up as I was moving the product towards the back of my cheek with my finger. So what I probably do is take like a smaller amount and apply it in each area and then kind of blend in. I think this is great. I think the shade is really nice. I'm glad that I picked this one up because this one really suits my personal preference. In the Wowder, so I wasn't a huge fan of the Wowder. I definitely feel like it's a heavier product than I would normally use. When it comes to powder, because I have really dry skin, I like something that's really finely milled. So I thought this ended up looking a little bit heavy, like on my more dry areas, and definitely accentuated my dryness. It does look good under the eyes, and it took away some of that, you know, sheen that the concealer was giving. I just don't think this is a real favorite for me, simply because I think it's a more matte, more drying formula than I prefer. For the highlighter, the Haloscope, I actually really liked this. I don't really love stick formula highlighters, but I thought because it had that oil applicator in the center of it, it swiped on very easily. I think it's like the perfect, makes your cheekbone kind of stand out without looking like you actually put something on it. I really liked the way that it came out. So I liked this one more than I thought it would, and the applicator in this case didn't bother me at all. For the brow product, so the Brow Flick, I'm not sure how popular the Brow Flick is. I do hear a lot about the boy brow. The Brow Flick in Blonde, it wasn't very pigmented, and I continued to keep shaking it upon application. Like, I was shaking it halfway through doing one eye, I was shaking it again. I was shaking it basically the entire time I was applying it, and it didn't seem overly pigmented. It just seemed very sheer. Like, it was hard to get a lot of product out, so I don't know if it's just this one, and maybe I got a bad product, or that's kind of how it comes out, but yeah, it took a lot longer than I normally would like to spend on my brows, honestly. So this really wasn't my favorite, even though I think the shade was good. And then the Boy Brow. So I know that this is a really popular product. I've heard a lot about Glossier's Boy Brow. I'm just not a huge fan of setting my brows. Like I said before, I let them go where they're gonna go. I don't fan them up. They just stay right where they are. That's my personal preference. I thought the shade match was actually really good. I thought the formula was extremely wet, but it didn't take a whole lot of time to dry down. I can definitely feel right now that they are set. but without being flaky. So I did like this. I think I'll probably try this again, maybe with a pencil that I really like, but I don't think I'll grab for this brow flick again. For the monochromes, the eyeshadows, I thought they were okay. They're not overly pigmented. It's a very light layer of coverage. I thought the shimmers were really good, but the mattes in here, the one shade obviously didn't show up on me at all. The other shade, it took a while to really build up the outer corner, and I don't think I like spending that much time applying my eyeshadow. I mean, I want it to be buildable, but I think I like a more pigmented formula than this was. And I know that these are meant to be like a one and done, you know, trio palette, and you can just kind of grab these and swipe it on for a very natural look. And I even think that I did a very natural eye, but even though I did a natural eye, it still took me a lot longer to build up that purple shade than I normally would in a more pigmented palette. So the shimmers in here were my absolute favorite. I'm a fan of the Glossier shimmer formula. I didn't find anything wrong with them. I thought one swipe, they were great. I just didn't love the mattes in these. Next for mascara, the Lash Slick. I mean, it was okay. It was a drier formula, which probably means that it's not going to transfer or flake throughout the day, hopefully. But I was definitely spending more time building this up to my desired effect than I probably normally would with a mascara. I don't dislike it. I think that this is perfect for like lighter days. I would use this one again. It's just not my favorite for every day for my personal preferences. The gloss lip, I thought this was nice. I thought that the longer this sat, it was actually nicer than when I first applied it. When I first applied it, it was definitely a sticky formula, and it claims to not be sticky, but it really was. But I do believe that because of the formula, it started to sink in and mesh with my lips the more I wore it. And that was actually nice because then the gloss stayed a little bit longer. But conversely, it was pretty difficult to remove when I was trying to take it off. So I would say this is sticky, but gets less sticky as you continue to wear it. It's not my favorite gloss by any means, but it's not a bad one. I would say if I wanted my gloss to stay a little bit longer during the day, but didn't mind that stickier formula, then I would reach for this. And finally, for the Ultralip, so the hydrating like lip balm, I actually really liked this. It is pretty sheer, but that is actually really nice. Like when you're just trying to grab something that's hydrating, you want like a whisper of coverage that's not sticky but still feels nourishing. This was a good one. I mean, I'd say that there are other ones out there that do similar things, but I wasn't disappointed with this one. I would definitely say that I will reach for this more often than I would the gloss. I do like this. This is like one you could just trust, throw in your purse, and if you needed a little bit of coverage and you wanted to hydrate your lips, this is one that I could see just being a really go-to option for that. Okay, so that was really fun playing with a full face of Glossier products. I can definitely see why some products that are known to be more popular are. Let me know if you've tried any of these products in the comments and how you liked them. Whether or not you're a fan of Glossier products, I'd really love to hear it. Again, this was my first time trying this brand. So I hope you liked today's video. I hope you leave a comment in the comment section, like this video, consider subscribing to my channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.